Welcome to the 14th video in this series, making a 2D racer with Unity. In this one, we're going to build ourselves a little in-race UI so we can see the name of the car, the color of the car, its lap times, and the number of laps that have been completed. In preparation for this video, I made some changes into the scene. They're not very dramatic, don't worry. I simply removed all of the cars but one of them and changed the name actually to car. Then actually went with the car selected to the overrides here and clicked the revert all just to reset everything back to where it was originally, or to the prefab, let's say. Then added a CPU car movement and set the profile to high skill. No debug label, we don't really need it. And also in car waypoints here, made sure there was no target marker. Then I set up, I think in car core, Jabber, I think is this one. And that's it then, ready to go. On the left-hand side, the target sprite here is disabled, so we don't see it because it's a little bit in the way. Then the debug label has also been disabled, so we don't see that either. So I reselect the car. Now, before we get started with the UI in this particular video, I want a quick word on the actual gameplay itself. You may have noticed at the end of the previous video that my gameplay was actually quite jerky with the rendering. Certainly, I noticed it. And if it's happening to you, don't worry about it. It's just the Unity IDE. In fact, if I run the game now, let's see if I get any jerkiness or not. So I'll start the race and... of course, typically now the car looks nice and smooth. I'll stop this actually and make a few more cars on here. So I'll just duplicate this and duplicate again and again. Let's see what happens with 4 cars here. So we'll start the race and let's see if we get some jerking now. No, that's all looking pretty good to me as well. Never mind. Like I said, I did notice at the end of the previous video, it does happen now and again. And if it does happen to you, don't worry about it. The actual built game will be absolutely fine. What I did notice rather weirdly, and I have with other games in Unity as well, if you open a prefab, for example, the car here, and then go and run your game, then it's usually absolutely smooth. So again, I'll start the race. Knowing my luck here, it'll actually be jerky, but we're about to find out. No, it's smooth again. So yeah, so I did notice at the end of the previous video. I did then wonder if that's happened to you and you're wondering why it's happening. Don't worry about it. It's the Unity IDE. If you ever really do have any doubts about what's going on, you can always go to Window and you can go to Analysis. You can actually turn on here a profiler. Then when you run the game and record for a few seconds, that gives you a huge amount of statistics as to where the time is going. Now, in my experience, when you do this, especially with light games like this one, it's mostly things that the editor is doing behind the scenes that are causing the time rather than the actual CPU or GPU cycles. So I'll delete these 3 cars for here now. We'll need them later on, but for now, we'll just do one of these. So the aim of this video is to build some UIs for our cars. Those UIs are going to display the name of the car, also the sprite for the color of the car, how many laps the car's completed, and the last full completed lap in terms of its lap time. The way we're going to lay these out is on the screen by laying one in each of the corners of the screen. That means we're limiting our races to 4 cars. And by the end, what should happen is if, say, we've only got 2 cars, then 2 of these won't be displayed. We'll start off by building one of them, getting it working for 1 car, and then we'll add all of the others in. Now, if you're eagle-eyed, you will have noticed the font here looks a little bit different to the font that we've been using so far. And indeed, since the previous video in this series, I've actually been looking at the font and deciding I don't like it very much. So what we're going to do is grab another one, which I think is a little bit better. That's the one you can see here, and put that in our game. So you'll find a link to this font in the description to this particular video. It's called Scrangy. It's on Google Fonts. Of course, you can use whatever you like. This is just one I happen to like. To get hold of it, you can just click the Get Font here, and then click the Download All, and you should then get a zip file. When that file downloads, please extract it. In there, you should find the regular and the bold. Let's drag and drop the bold into our game assets and fonts. That should import it nicely into there. Then we can go to Window, Text Mesh Pro, Font Asset Creator. Then we can click this for the source font, grab hold of our Scrangy Bold, generate Font Atlas, save, and that's opened up in Assets, Game Assets, Fonts, alongside the other one. I'm going to save that in there. Cool. Okay, so we can close that down. Let's select the countdown label and reactivate it, and double click on it as well so we can see it. Then on the right-hand side here, let's switch out the font asset for our new one. That looks a lot nicer. What we could do actually is adjust the material though, couldn't we? So let's open this up, select the material. On the right-hand side, we can up the outline thickness a little bit to something like this. Nice. Okay, so I'll do Control-S to save, go back to the car here, double click on that to focus back in on it and zoom out. Now let's start working on our UI. To do this, what we'll do is we'll select the canvas, right click and create empty, and I'll call this car UI holder. And then let's double click on this. It's going to be right in the middle of our large screen, which is our canvas for laying our UI. Our game is all the way down tiny here. What we want to do is anchor this and stretch it to the edges of the screen. So I'm going to click on here, which opens up this, then hold down Shift and Alt. That then highlights all of these in this way. If I let go of Alt, it's slightly different. So I'll hold down Alt and it looks like this. And we want this one on the bottom right-hand side. So I'll left click on that. You should find then that it's extended now. The anchor points to the edges. And if I select the car UI holder, you should find we have left, top, right and bottom all at 0. Anchors 0, 0, 1 and 1. And the pivot at half. Now we can start adding in our UI. So we'll build the one on the top left-hand side, get that up and running, and then we can move them to the other corners. Now the way we're going to do this is a relatively quick and dirty way. Unity comes with some built-in tools for laying out UIs, which we're actually going to see later on in this series. But this UI being relatively simple, we're going to set everything up and position it by hand. I hope that's okay with you. So we'll right click, create empty, and we'll call this a CarUI. Then we can click here and I'll hold down Shift and Alt again. And we want to go to the top left here. That puts it at the top left hand side here. I'll just zoom in a little bit. Then we can right click and we'll go to UI Canvas and Text Mesh Pro. And this can be the car name label. On the text here, we can put car name. And then scrolling down a little bit, I'm going to have the alignment to be middle here. Keep it left aligned here. And then for the font, we can go for our new font here. Zoom in a little bit on how that looks. Yeah, that's not too bad. Change the font size here maybe to 30. And then let's scroll up here and have a look at the anchoring here. So I'm going to click this and then do Shift and Alt and hold down this one here. So that's the middle one like this. That anchors it then on its left-hand side. Then select the CarUI here. Then we can right-click, go to UI Canvas and Image in this case. Call this one then the car image. On the right-hand side for the source image, let's do car orange, for example, and then go to the scale. I'm going to link the scale and do this 0.5. I found that in preparation to be about the right size. And we need this to go onto the right-hand side here. And like I said, we're going to do this quick and dirty by hand rather than actually setting up some layout components and things like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is anchor it. So I'm going to get the anchoring here and then do Shift and Alt again and click this one so it's anchored to the left. Then simply grab the red here, so the x-axis, and slide this along a bit over here. Now, before we position this properly, I'd like to select the car name label, and the text at the moment will go up to the edge here, which probably for the car names is about right, actually. So let's get the image and move this along a little bit further. Select the car name label, and we'll go down to the overflow section. Where are you here? And we'll just put ellipses. So if we get anything longer than this text box here, we're not going to suddenly overwrite this image. And maybe what we could do with this label actually is shorten it very slightly. So we'll make it maybe 180 wide like that. So we've got plenty of space. So we're never going to overwrite that. Okay, so that's the car name label. And we've also got the car image. We need a couple of other labels as well. So I'm going to select this one here, do Control and D to duplicate that. Move it down below the car image here. This can be called a laps label. And here we can say lap. And we'll say 0, 0. So the position for this one then in the Y, we're going to do this really by eye more than anything else. So let's try it 32 and see where we are. Or sorry, we're at minus 32, went the wrong way. Okay, we'll try minus 48. All right, that looks, I think, okay. Let's duplicate that then. We'll try going down to maybe minus 72 here. Okay, maybe minus 84. That doesn't look too bad. And this one here is going to be the lap time label. And here we can put the text last and at 0.0 seconds. Okay, so that's our UI. What I'd like to do now is take a look at how this looks. Let's go to the game and have a look at that. So how do we look? Okay, it's not too bad. We're right up against the edge of the screen, and maybe this is a little bit too far off to the right-hand side. So I'll go back to the scene here, grab hold of our CarUI, and then the position in the X, maybe we can put this as 12, so it's just moved off a little bit from the edge of the screen like that. And then getting the name label here, or the car image, sorry. Let's move this back to around here, shall we? That should be, I think, okay. So let's go back to the game. Yeah, and that doesn't look too bad, actually. Cool, so I'll save that. Let's add ourselves a component to this. So we'll get hold of the CarUI here, then we can add a component, and that's going to be then a new script. That can be CarUI, I think, and I'll do a lowercase I there. Create an add, and then inside the assets, scripts, and UI, it's gone there automatically. I'm going to hit save. And then once that's compiled, we can double click on the script. So inside here, we can get rid of this boilerplate code and save. And at the top here, we're going to need to use Text Mesh Pro, and we're also going to need Unity Engine UI as well. So then the first thing we're going to do is serialize a field, and that's going to be a private image, which can be car image. Then we'll have a Text Mesh Pro GUI, that will be the car name label. Then we'll have another one, which will be the lap label, and the other one can be the lap time label. And then to initialize these values, what we're going to do is we're going to pass the CarUI a car core, and it's going to use that to initialize its details. So in here, we'll make a private and car core. We'll call this a car. Then a public void init car details. We'll send in then a car core, which we can call car. So our car is going to be equal to car. And then we can set up the name label and also the car image, except I'm not sure if we have those on the car core. Let's go to the car core. Nope, we need some public getters for these, don't we? So we'll do public string car name, and that's our car definition car name. Then we can do public sprite, car sprite, and that gets the car sprite from our definition. So we can go back to the CarUI. Then we can say the car name label.text is equal then to our car.carname. And then we can do the same thing for the sprite. So car image dot, and I think it's sprite, is equal to car dot and car sprite. I'd like to verify this is actually working. So we see the name and we also see the sprite. We don't have any way of actually doing that properly, at least at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll drop some temporary code into something that we're using. So we're using the CPU car movement. So I'll drop into that one. And then up here somewhere, what are we using? Are we using start or anything like that? We'll actually make a temporary start right at the top here. I'm going to use the awake here, paste that, make that start. And this is code that we're going to throw away a little bit later on. But we'll make a var, call this panel. That's going to be equal to, and then we want to find object by type. That will be then CarUI. We'll assume that we have one of these here. So we can get hold of this dot, and then we can init car details, and we're going to send in then the core. What that should do then is update the UI, and we should actually see the correct color and the correct name in the IDE. So back in the Unity IDE, it's actually just crashed for me. I've faded it out so you didn't have to watch it happen, but hopefully we're going to be okay now. But things do seem to have built anyway. So selecting the CarUI on the right-hand side, there's the image, the label, the lap label, and the lap time. So I'm going to open this out and quickly drag these in. So we've got the car image, the car name label, the lap label, and then the lap time label. So we should be able to run this, and hopefully now we can see the top left-hand side, the car name is updated using the details. And it is, we've got Jabba, and we've got the orange here, actually, which is the default one that we've got here, isn't it? So let's go to car, and where we've got the profile, it's on the car core, I think. Yep, let's click this and double click on, let's say, possum. So let's run it again. And good, we've got the green and we've got possum. Cool, so that's our UI definitely working and being initialized. So let's close that down. Now that we know it's okay and we have our component on it, let's grab the car UI and prefab this before we do anything else. So go to the prefabs folder here and just drag this down to here. Then we can close this up and we can actually duplicate this a couple of times, or 3 times actually, and place it in each of the corners. So I'll zoom this out and zoom out a little bit more. All right, so CarUI and duplicate, duplicate, and duplicate. And whilst we're here, I notice the countdown label is still there. So I'll select that and disable that. So the first CarUI here, we want this over the right-hand side. So we'll go to click here, do Shift and Alt again. We're going to go top right in this case. Then we can shift it back in the X, maybe -64. Oh, well, that looks okay. All right, then. So select this one here. So the next one down. Click into here, we're going to go bottom right, so shift out and bottom right. So the X here is -64, and then the Y here, we need to go up a bit, maybe 32. No, that's not enough, maybe 48. It's going to be 64, isn't it? Well done, so 64, there we go. And then finally, the last one here, we can click in here, do shift and alt again, bottom left. We know we want to go up 64 in the Y, and I can't remember how much I shifted the first one in, so it was just 12. Okay, so go into the last one here, and 12. There we go. So if we go to the game view, we should see now that we've got our 4 UIs. We have, except we're not seeing the sprite on the right-hand side here, are we? So that's not very good. So let's go back to the scene here, and I'll select that one down here. Let's position that then to maybe -128. Oh, it could even be a little bit further, maybe -140. That would be then the 12. Okay, and then I'll select the other one as well. We'll do -140. Well, that should be a little bit better. Let's have a look in the game. Yep, that's better. Okay, cool. So that's our interfaces set up for our cars. So go back to the scene. What we want to do now is we want to be able to set all of these up and assign them a car that then they're going to use to update their information or their labels. To do that, we'll make another component called a CarUI manager, and we'll stick it on the CarUI holder here. So we'll add a component, then we'll add a new script, and then we can call that CarUI manager. We'll save that in the UI folder as well. And let's double click on script. Inside here, then we can get rid of the update. We don't need it. And what we'll do is we'll serialize an array of CarUIs, which are going to be slots that we'll use inside the inspector. And what we want to do is find all of the car cores that we have in the game. There should be up to 4 of them. So we'll say var and cars. That's going to be equal to. And then we want to have the find objects by type. And we're looking for car core. And I've got red lines here because I need to put the sort mode, don't I? So that's the find object sort mode and none. Then we'll iterate through all of the UI slots that we have with a for loop. So we're going up to UI slots dot and length. And if the current index that we have is less than cars.length, then we'll grab hold of our UI slots at index I, and then we can initialize the car details without cars I. Otherwise, we'll deactivate this particular UI slot. So at the moment, by default, they're all active and then they get deactivated as they're not needed. Except to think about it, it might be better to do it the other way around and have them deactivated to start and then only appear as we need them. So what we'll actually do is cut this line here and go to true here, and then we don't need else at all. Then we can go to the CPU car movement now, and we're not going to need this anymore, so we can delete it and do Control S to save. Let's go back into the Unity IDE. So back in the Unity IDE then, that's compiled, and we can see that we have these slots for our UI slots here. So I'm going to make 4 of those, and then drag and drop our car UIs into these. And then get hold of all 4 of these and disable them up there so we don't see them anymore. Do Control S to save. Now let's get our car, which is up here. This one is Possum, isn't it? I'll go back to also the car itself so we can see them in the game here. Then duplicate that, and with the move tool, just move this. And on the right hand side, let's go for Tigger here. Then we'll duplicate once more, and then we can put maybe this one here. And on the right hand side, we'll go for Maisie. And if we run the application now, what should happen is we should have 3 UIs active with the correct sprites and also the correct names. And there we go. We've got Tigger, Maisie, and Possum. Cool. Excellent. So let's close that down. Now we can turn our attention to updating the laps in the UI. Now we did have in the hierarchy here, or I did anyway, a game object called temp, I think, with the lap logger attached. In my messing about between videos, I seem to have actually deleted that, but you've probably got it in the hierarchy here. If you have, you no longer really need it. We're now going to update the actual laps inside our UIs here. To do this, let's open up our car UI. So we're going to click the car UI and double click on the script. Inside here, we want to subscribe to the lap completed. So in the track here, we've got the lap log listener. That's actually the thing we need. So what we can do is take actually this code from here. So we'll copy that. We'll leave this class in case we need it for something else. Then we can go into our CarUI, and I'll drop all of that below the private car call car like this. So in enable, we're subscribing, and disable, we're unsubscribing. Then in the onLap completed, we want to update our labels depending on whether this is the car that we're representing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check whether the car that's being sent in is equal to our car. If it's not, then we're simply going to return. Now there we're saying return if it is, so we want a not equals. Otherwise, we'll go and update our labels. Now later on, we're going to update them here for some initial values as well. So what we'll do is write a separate little function for this actually. So we'll say private void update labels. For now, we'll send in the lap time. Inside here then, we can get hold of our lap time label dot, and the text is going to be equal to then a formatted string. And we'll call this last, and we can put then in the lap time. Then we can invoke this instead of our debug log. I don't think we need this here. So update labels, and we send in the lap time. And what we could also do whilst we're here is go to update labels in the init car details and set this to 0. So whatever placeholder text we happen to have in the Unity IDE, we immediately set this to 0. And that should be all we need now actually to see the lap times being updated as the cars drive around the track. So back inside Unity then, everything is compiled, which is a good sign. I have noticed though, as my start line disappeared, I'm sure I did have one. I'm now wondering how many videos in the series the start line hasn't been there. I'm pretty sure we had one, didn't we? Let's go to track, start line, verification, visuals. There you are, track image, get rid of view, there you are. Okay, so let's select the visuals then on the right hand side, sorting the track. Right then, put order in layer 1. There we go, surely you're on top. You are, and I'm glad I've checked it actually, because this car probably should not be over there, shall it? So I'm going to move that back a little bit, that back as well. Hopefully your start line is still there. I'll do Control S to save. Let's check then if the IDE is actually working. So I'm going to run this, press S to start the race. That at least is working, and let's see what happens here. So do we get some lap times? That's the main thing. Okay, so yep, we do. Maisie and Possum and Tigger's cross the line a little bit later. Let's wait for a couple more laps to run, but this is looking actually pretty good. They're updating nicely. There we go, Maisie 8.4, Possum 8.82, and Tigger is still lagging behind a little bit. Let's just watch one more. This is looking pretty good. Finally then, 8.58 there, 8.48, and 9.60. Cool, that looks to be working really well. What we need to do now, of course, is count the laps. So let's close that down. And for the lap counting, we need to go into our car lap counter, funnily enough. So let's double click on that. And inside here, let's add ourselves a new private variable. I'm going to put this actually at the top, and that can be the number of completed laps, which initially then can be 0. And what we want to do is increment this every time we've completed a lap. So where are we? Here we are. And we'll do that before we do any emitting of anything. So we'll do completed laps ++. And in fact, we'll put that above the debug log, shall we? And then we can actually put this in here. So what we need to do now is emit this actually with this particular event. So we'll put it then after the lap time here. Now, obviously, we're going to get some red here. So let's go to our race events. So on the left-hand side, if we're going to race, we have race events. So what we're going to be doing here at the top is sending an integer. Then we'll send an integer and call that laps. And then we can send the number of laps with this. To Control S to save, we still have some red. This one obviously has some red. So here what we want then is int and laps. This one is kind of irrelevant now. But just in case, we'll put lap time here. And then we can also put the laps as well. And let's go to the CarUI. So this one as well needs the laps. So we'll do int and laps. And then we can update our labels. So we'll take this one from here. This one is called the lap label. So we'll take the lap label.text, and then we'll do laps, take in an integer, which is going to be laps. And here then we can put our laps, and we'll put D2. And finally, last but not least, we're being barked at down the bottom here. So we need comma and laps, and a comma and 0. And Control S to save. Hopefully now our UIs are counting the laps for us. So back inside Unity then, what I'm going to do is run this, and hopefully now when starting the race, we'll see the laps actually being counted. And away we go. So no lap counted there. That's a good start. Let's see what happens when they go over for the first time. And we've got one, and we've got one, and we've got one. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to leave it for a couple more laps and speed it up just to make sure it's working okay. Okay, and that seems to be working pretty well. We have nice lap times being updated, and we also have the lap count being updated really nicely. Cool, so I'm going to close that down. So we managed to get through that one in the end. My apologies for the couple of things that were out of sync with you. So we had that temporary game object inside here, which was for me removed, and also the strangeness with the start-finish image here. What actually happened to me, which you didn't see because it was cut out, but Unity actually crashed a couple of times and I got completely out of sync and tried to rebuild everything to where we were. So hopefully we're in sync with each other again. And with that done, I think we've made another really good step, and that's probably a good place to stop this particular video. We've now got some UI on the screen where we're tracking the number of laps each car has made and also their lap times. What that means is in the next video, we can jump ahead and actually look at controlling the race. So presenting a leaderboard when the race is over, who's won, who's not won, and also the average lap times. So thanks very much for watching this one, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.